Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Entitled People. As usual, we got some more Reddit posts to check out today, so be sure to like and subscribe, and let's get into it, friends. Print out the internet? Yes, ma'am. This is about a decade ago, but still well within the realm of the internet. I was a technical writer for the government, and had slowly been transferring our old employee handbook, think government bureaucracy from the 1940s, into a modern and actually useful doc. Think one page with our policies and links to useful websites, like Office of Personnel Management, forms for workman's comp, etc. My boss wanted the whole thing printed out on her desk the next morning. This was Monday of the Thanksgiving weekend. I printed out the 200 or so pages and just had the links to various websites in bold. This took about an hour and I left it on her desk before going home that night. She calls me in her office on Tuesday afternoon and proceeds to yell at me about how stupid I am. Do I think people can just go to a website when it is on paper? No. I need to print everything out. I calmly tell her that these sites are pretty dense and deep, and it would be about 10,000 pages. She says she does not care. It needs to be on her desk, damn it, first thing Monday morning. Mind you, this is now Tuesday, and we usually had some of Wednesday off. I was not really planning to work Thursday, Thanksgiving, or Friday, as I had applied for leave, and was looking forward to a nice relaxing long weekend. I don't have family, but I had plans. But okay, I asked for and got the request to have, quote, everything pertaining to the employee handbook online in a printed format. I also had real work and real deadlines. A quick bit of context. She was my boss. She did my performance appraisals, and she could make my life miserable, and possibly fire me. However, my clients were teams that put together engineering plans, biological assessments, scientific journal articles, reports to Congress, etc. that had real-world deadlines. On some of these, if you missed the publication date, your agency paid $100,000 a day in delay fees. Or you would piss off a congressperson, which is never a good idea. And I was really getting sick and tired of my boss's requests that took me away from my actual work. So I was printing and printing all the rest of Tuesday afternoon, and then Wednesday. I had to go to the site, print, click on the next link, print, etc. On Wednesday, we got a congressional, a letter from a Congress critter that was actually important. Had we not gotten that, I might not have done what I did. I got overtime approved pronto to take care of this request. So I did work Thanksgiving. As I was doing that, I kept on printing. And printing. I used up every sheet of paper in our 14-story building. I kept on researching the response for the congressional, printing, going to the next floor to carefully get that packet of paper to tuck under the appropriate page, etc. I had paper in about 20 different conference rooms. I could have done the congressional in about 8 hours, but it was not due until Monday. And all of this printing took me a good 24 hours of work. So I put in for 32 hours, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Got it done. This is now 2 stacks of paper, each about 6 feet high. I was way under my estimate of 10,000 pages, as it was more like about 30,000. Remember, I had at least 5 printers going at once for 4 days, etc. I put this in my boss's office, which was already none too clean and pristine. I got written up, with the disciplinary hearing and everything. The charge was malicious compliance. I kept my job, only because I did have her request in an email. Update and explanations. I kept my job only because. I say that because the boss was very upset and was going to HR demanding that I be put on a performance improvement plan, where she could then take her revenge and create other issues that would have gotten me fired. I was probably not in danger of being fired simply for this action, but I was not put on a PIP. I was given a disciplinary letter, so the only actual fallout was that I could not get a bonus. Yes, the charge actually and literally was malicious compliance. That was what was written on the disciplinary letter. She could not get me on anything else. She had not set any limits. You can only spend X hours, print out X materials, etc. And I had her instructions in an email to print out the handbook and all the pertaining information from websites. The 2 6-foot stacks were not just the paper printouts. The handbook covered everything and was more of an intranet in itself. I had been working on this project for a long time in my spare time. In short, this was a well-organized intranet, where you could quickly find exactly what you needed and no more. There was absolutely no reason to print this out, and my boss never gave me a reason, so I already had a lot of material that I just put into the piles. Yes, my boss kept her job. She was promoted soon after from being the group manager of about 15 people to being the deputy chief of a division of several hundred people. I do not care if you have cancer, my child deserves your seat. This encounter happened about 7 months ago. Also, I'm translating this into English, so bear with me. A little backstory, about a year ago I was diagnosed with cancer of the nasal cavity, stage 2. The tumor was quite large, but thankfully benign. Edit, people have pointed out I formulated this wrong. By benign, I wanted to shorten the fact it still did not spread into other tissue, thus it was contained, which is what I thought the word meant. I apologize for my gaps in knowledge. To get it removed, I first had to undergo aggressive chemotherapy to make it smaller. Thanks to the chemo, I had severe alopecia, hair loss, which made most of my hair and even my eyebrows and eyelashes fall out. At some point, I had to go bald, but I wore a wig, because I didn't want to look like a skinhead / neo-Nazi. I'm 6'4" and pretty muscular, so I thought people would assume. So once after a long chemo session in the hospital, I took the bus home. There's only one bus that goes from the hospital to where I live, so I took that one only to see it was absolutely packed. I felt like crap thanks to the chemo, so I asked a middle-aged dude to let me sit. He was very understanding and gave me a spot without complaining. If you're reading this, thanks bro. 2 stops later, enter entitled mom, a lovely whale with an I demand a parley with the CEO haircut, and a 12-some-year-old kid. It took her roughly 5 seconds to see the bus was packed, start looking for a free seat, spot me and start marching. Or in her case, trying to fit in the aisle between the seats while shoving others aside, to me. When I saw her, I knew I was screwed. She then stood next to me and decided to talk to me. This is the conversation that followed. Hey, could you let my kid sit down? You mean me? Who else? Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm on my way home from the hospital and... Cutting me off, she says. So are we. Nonsense, the stop was a few kilometers away from the hospital. My boy just broke his leg and we're coming straight from the ER. Her kid was standing next to her without any support, clearly embarrassed. He's standing next to you completely fine, I said. Look here, boy. I am 21 years old. My kid deserves to sit down. Look, madam, I'm sorry, but I just got back from a chemo session in the hospital, and I need to sit down and rest. I then moved my wig a bit to let her see my bald head. Entitled mother then straight up started yelling in my face. Stop making excuses and get off the f***ing seat, you f***ing skinhead piece of shit. At this point, I was baffled. I didn't know what to say. The kid was trying to make his mother stop, and we had the attention of the whole bus. She then grabbed me and tried to yank me from my seat. I held on tight and thankfully didn't fall off. Now enter old gentleman, my savior, a 60-some-year-old guy. He says, will you shut the f*** up, you dumb cow? Who do you think you're talking to, asked the mom. With an ice-cold voice, the old guy says, stop assaulting other passengers or I will be forced to step in. Also, every dumb moron could see that the dude has cancer. No, he's just a f***ing skinhead, said the mom. He's got no eyebrows, you twat. Seems like that really offended entitled mom, because she spun around on the spot and threw a falcon punch in the old guy's face. I was shocked and in disbelief. The whole bus was flabbergasted, and the kid probably wished he'd never been born. The old gentleman then said something unbelievable and a golden sweet karma moment followed. Okay, that does it. Harassing passengers on the bus, physical assault against a passenger, and now assaulting an officer. The old gentleman then pulled out a badge and told her to stay where she was. Then he pulled out his phone, called someone, and told her she was being arrested. I couldn't believe it. The old gentleman was a bloody cop. At this point, entitled mom was white as all hell. The bus had just come to a stop, so she decided she'd make a run for it, but the other passengers blocked her way. She then also got charged with resisting arrest thanks to this. 3 stops later, a police car was waiting for entitled mom and kid. The kid told me he was sorry for his mother's behavior, and I felt really sorry for the kid. He wasn't a bad child, but his mother was a hellspawn. The old gentleman then talked to me and asked me if I wanted to press charges, to which I gladly said yes. Took a statement and thankfully was kind enough to let me solve everything on the phone, so I didn't have to come to the police station for questioning. In the end, entitled mom got some jail time. I think it was a few months, and some community service. I in return got a good story to tell, and the sweet taste of instant karma. Right now I'm riding the same bus home, as I just got back from the hospital after a checkup, which reminded me of this. A friend who's sitting next to me told me I should post it here. I should also note that the surgery went well. I was declared cancer-free in November, and my hair is slowly returning. Also, I don't need to wear a wig anymore. Karen's husband gets slapped with summons. So this weekend was pure entertainment. I love living in a close-knit town where we have community events all the time. Some are random, like this one. We got together and volunteered our kids to clean the parks and trail they threw trash in. While they were cleaning, I joined a couple of parents and we cleared some half-fallen trees so they wouldn't be a hazard anymore. Park Service were there, and the town code enforcer showed up in uniform with his kids. This is very important. He of course came in uniform because he is running for office forever. He led the kids around the park, picking up trash, sweeping debris, and raking up leaves. So as we were clearing the debris along the trail by Karen's house, a police officer comes by, led by Karen's weasel of a husband. Let's call him Kevin. Karen was locked up, and I guess he figured he had to do her work. He apparently called them and wanted them to see the hoodlums with weapons on the trail and the men destroying the forest. The police officer wrote him a ticket for filing a false police report and left, telling him to not call again. A few hours later, the code enforcer came down the trail with a group of kids picking up trash, and he saw the condition of Karen's fence. He told the kids he wanted it all picked up, and they got to work. Kevin came out in a huff. He screamed that they need to get off his property. He saw a few parents getting ready to tell him off when the code enforcer bellowed, "You heard him, kids, get out of there." He then walked up to Kevin with the biggest grin I've ever seen in my life. He pulled out his summons book and started writing. The conversation went as follows. The code enforcer says, "You have 1 week to clean this up as you are in violation of our town's Clean and Pristine Act." Kevin looked pissed, staring blankly. "This is your offense, is it not?" the code enforcer asked. "Yes, but those little demons are the ones who dropped that trash there," said Kevin. "Well, those kids were cleaning it up, but you don't want them on your property. I cannot allow them to trespass. As you can see, I am on duty today. And since I am on duty, I must enforce the clean and pertinent order. Now, if you wish to give them permission to be on your property, they will clean up the trash, or you can do it yourself. Let the little bastards clean it. F you," said Kevin. I stood there laughing with the dads, as I cannot describe the level of confusion on Kevin's face during the entire exchange. The code enforcer stood there with the biggest crap-eating grin I have ever seen as Kevin stormed off to his house. One of the moms piped up and said, "I thought you said you weren't actually working today." The code enforcer grinned. I couldn't pass up an opportunity to shut that guy down hard. We all laughed and got back to cleaning. The kids picked up all the trash on his property. We saw Kevin a few more times, mostly to come out and curse about how terrible the kids are. Kevin got into an argument with one of the moms, but my daughter didn't hear what they said and I was at the other end of the trail. When it was all done, we had a big barbecue party to celebrate the clean park and to reward the kids for their hard work. Too bad Kevin is such a sourpuss, we would have invited him. Side note, most of the kids confessed to throwing the trash on Karen's property. My daughter confessed to it as well as apologizing for contributing to the mess. And that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that like button if you made it this far, I'd really appreciate it. And also subscribe if you haven't already. So I'm out of here. Have an awesome day and I'll see you all next time.